What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden, and welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not necessarily in the greatest mood today, as we saw the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, and we did not win a single game. So we're going to discuss that, discuss the results, the rewards, everything in between, and discuss the future winnable games, I should mention that we have to look forward to. With that in mind, before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know what you guys think about, well, the Chicago Bulls, their previous week and the upcoming week. I mentioned that we had two games to look forward to last week, but unfortunately, because I didn't have time to make the Bulls Weekly yesterday, we ended up playing three games. So we played three games in the previous week, 0-3. Zilch, not a single win. We were close in pretty much all of them, but no dice. Close doesn't mean anything when you lose the game. So we started off against the San Antonio Spurs, and we lost this game 121 to 117. Again, close, really close, tough battle. Showed what we're all about when we want to be competitive. But the harsh reality is the Spurs had too much. Wemby was very good in the clutch, and they overtook the Chicago Bulls. A lot of people will criticize our defensive end, as they should, and we had to move on. And we needed a retaliation against the Detroit Pistons. A Detroit Pistons that had pretty much everybody in their starting five out. A Detroit Pistons side that had G-Leaguers on their bench. A Detroit Pistons side that had no business even being remotely close to the Chicago Bulls, who had the best start to the season we could have ever asked for. Literally, it was a historic-making start to the season. And we lost the game 124 to 113. Didn't have a lead the entire game. Was easily the worst game of our entire season thus far. And we should be very ashamed with that result. I don't want to go up. I don't really want to go further into it. We should be ashamed. Simple as that. Next up was the Utah Jazz. I already talked about this one a little bit in the last video. Feel free to check that out. We lost that one 150 to 147. I don't have too much to say on the negative side of things in this game, to be honest. I still think our defense is the biggest concern, and we saw that in this game with 33 points from George, 47 points from Markkanen, and ultimately just a whole bunch of easy opportunities that went by that we could not stop. In the paint, eventually from three, it was just a massacre on that end. And thankfully, we at least made it close, very close. We probably could have walked away with the victory. It went down to the final shot. We just didn't have enough on the night. On a second overtime, my goodness, double overtime. I enjoyed the game. I really, really did. I did not like the results. So, 0-3, 6-6 on the season. In a couple of hours' time, we might be minus 500. I didn't expect it to happen this quickly, ladies and gentlemen, but we might be here now. In that regard, let's talk about the rewards. And the must improve is going to go to everybody. You can't go 0-3 and not give every single person on this team the must improve. Every single one. I don't care if you recently just came back. I don't care if you had an ankle injury and you just came back. We're talking about Kobe White and Giddey. They're going to be responsible as well. Everybody's going to be responsible for the must improve of the week. It is as simple as that. You don't go 0-3 and not share the responsibility. You know, they say you're only as good as your weakest ally or your weakest teammate. Well, our teammates must be really weak, because everybody's going to take responsibility for that. Even the leaders. I'm holding everybody accountable. I don't care if you had the best week of all time. At some point, you got to take responsibility. This whole team, Billy Donovan, I'm including you in that. Arturas Karnisovas. Heck, the water boy. You get it too. Everybody gets must improve. We didn't have enough water in our play system. We probably got tired. I don't know. But everybody's getting the must improve. There's no other answer. Everybody's going to get it for me. In regards to the defensive player of the week, no one. I don't think anyone played well defensively this week. I mean, I was tempted to give it to Isaac Okoro because, at least he's like a one-on-one defender, I guess. We missed Trey Jones out there in that last game against the Jazz. Team defense, we are absolutely shocking. And Isaac Okoro had 47 dropped on him. So I can't think of anybody else. I'm not going to give it to Giddey. I'm not going to give it to Vooch, that's for sure. I'm not going to give it to Patrick Williams. I don't know. You tell me, because I don't know. Lost for words. I watched most of these games as well, like purely watched most of them. And I cannot give you a single thing. There are two awards that are going to go to one player now, ladies and gentlemen, and that is my sixth man of the week and player of the week. I think both of them go to Kevin Huerter. Now, I don't know how many points he had against the Jazz. Let me quickly check that because, that might come back to bite me. But he was great against the Pistons, probably one of our best players, and he was really, really good against the San Antonio Spurs as well. I thought offensively he was just consistent the entire way through. Kevin Huerter had 8 points and 6 rebounds. He had 6 points, and 8 rebounds on the night with 2 assists against the Jazz. So not great. I don't care. To me, he was the most consistent in a really sucky week. I'm giving him both of the awards. I would like to give it to Josh Giddey, but he only played one game. Love to give it to Kobe White. He only played one game. Like to give it to Nikola Vucevic, but he only really played well in one game. I don't know. Tell me, am I wrong? Should I just give it to a player that played one really good game? Should I just give it to Josh Giddey, who had a triple-double? Should I give it to no one because we didn't win a game? I don't know the answers. Sometimes these rewards, they don't mean much when you lose games. They don't mean much. It's not as positive as you'd like to think it is. So it is what it is. That's all I could say on that. Those are the awards given. We have a lot of games to look forward to in this West Coast trip and this week in general. We have the second night of a back-to-back against the Denver Nuggets. Look, we've had good moments against Denver. We've also had really bad moments against Denver. I don't know what's going to happen this time around, considering we just played a double overtime game and we lost. I can't imagine the Bulls are going to come out all guns blazing. I can imagine the Bulls coming out all guns blazing, but I think towards the end, they're going to tire off. Even as a young team, a double overtime is a very tough experience to go through. So I feel like they're going to tire out eventually. If we don't have a big lead by halftime, I would be fearful that Denver are going to steamroll us in the end. And that's going to be minus 500 for us. Then we got the Portland Trailblazers, a team that's playing very good basketball these days. Wins and losses wise, we could take a look at what their record is if you would like. I'm not really worried about their record. Right now they're 6-7, so in a very similar territory to us. But they're a team that's playing competitive basketball. Denny's being unbelievable. They're a young squad that seem to have a great idea of where they want to go. I'm scared. I'm scared of the Portland Trailblazers, to be honest. I'm pretty sure even when they didn't play that well last season, they actually did beat us one time. So they're playing better, and it's going to be in Portland, and they're in a similar position. So you can't tell me not to be afraid of that team. I'm definitely terrified of that team. Then we have an NBA Cup game against the Miami Heat. I would say and make the case, this is the most important game of our week. NBA Cup game. We're second ranked behind the Milwaukee Bucks. We win a game like this, you could potentially eliminate two of the teams there, depending on how the Knicks play or how the Bucks play or whoever. But, if we beat Miami, you could potentially eliminate a team. That's how I view it, at least. So it's important that we absolutely play our best in this game, because regardless of what happens throughout the week, how negative we're going to be, how positive we're going to be, how many wins we're going to have, how many losses we're going to have, the one thing I really want to do is advance in this tournament. I want the in-season tournament. I want to go to Vegas. I'm not going to go to Vegas, but I want this team to go to Vegas, because I feel like a competition like that and being put in that situation where it's an elimination type game, it could make this team a very, very big threat for future games to come, for the future of the season. Having that experience under your belt, whether you win or you lose, could mean a lot for you. And I want this team to experience that. So you have to beat Miami. It's no other question. And then we got another back-to-back. And this one's going to be on the Sunday. It's going to be at home. At least it's a home back-to-back, so it's not too bad. And it's going to be against the Washington Wizards. Another must-win game. You got to put these teams to bed when you face them. You got to defend home court. If we walk out with anything but a win... No, if we walk out with a loss, let's just put it this way. If we walk out with a loss in this game, you might see me rage. You might see me rage, because that is the one game I expect us to win. Now, out of the 4 games, I'm going to pick the neutral 2-2. I don't know where this Bulls team is going to land. I have no idea, but we have to win those 2 games. We need to beat Miami. We absolutely need to beat the Wizards. We have to beat those 2 teams. I don't think those 2 teams are better than us. I really don't. So, must win games. The schedule is lighter. Well, that might be our detriment at this point. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.